Today, everybody. It is the spooky season, October, one of the kids' favorite seasons. And you know why? Because of candy. So before you go out and have your kids eat some candy, I have with me Dr. Mike, one of Guam's pediatricians, who will talk about as to why too much candy can be a little bad for kids, especially nowadays.
I mean, the most obvious thing is going to be if they eat too much candy all the time, they're going to get extra calories that they're not normally going to have. We can work a little bit on obesity. And then, of course, dentists are going to tell you, it's terrible for their teeth. And we see tons of kids with lots of cavities in their teeth, even in a Pete's clinic. That being said, it's the time to have fun. Kids can go out and have some candy. Let's just keep it in moderation. A little bit easier to parents when you guys give your kids candy. Let them have a certain amount. Try not to have it where you're trying to block them from getting to the candy. Studies show that when you tell them no, and you get very coercive with it, they actually want to think about it even more, and then they really want the candy. One thing I'm gonna say that might kind of surprise a lot of parents out there. I know the first time I heard it was really shocking to me. But the idea of a sugar rush, right? You give your kids candy and then they're gonna be running around all crazy, is a myth. So giving kids candy will not cause them to get all crazy. But what is really fun for kids is when they're out trick-or-treating with their friends, when they're having a birthday party. It's an exciting time, right? So just having that little candy is kind of what we associate with having a great time, and so then that gets them really excited and happy to be with their friends. So don't think that just because you give them a little candy that you're gonna completely ruin their bedtime routine. Yeah.
So Doug, I actually asked this question because I remember Halloween last year. Well, it was still a bit tough, but I was hanging around with some of my friends, and of course they have little brothers, and they were okay one day, and then when I went to visit them, this was maybe about a couple days after Halloween, all of a sudden they're bedridden. I'm like, hey, what happened to your brother? Oh man, you're not gonna believe this. I'm like, all right, what? He had way too much candy. I'm like, so he's sick because of that? So Doc, I was just a bit confused. Why did my friend's brother become sick as to eating too much of that candy?
So one thing, it could just be that if he ate a lot of candy, you're gonna have a stomach ache. The other thing a lot of sugar can do, it will release a lot of insulin, and very similar to how we feel really groggy after a big meal. That is something similar to what candy can do. Not quite the same as the tryptophan at Thanksgiving kind of deal, but a similar concept in that your body needs to work to process all the extra sugar in this case. The other thing that's probably more in line with that is that there are just a lot of viruses this time of year. And with Halloween, kids want to get out and have fun, family wants to get together. We are just going to be really good at spreading viruses with each other. Currently, there are a lot of cold viruses going around, and there's also a new stomach virus that's just causing a lot of vomiting and diarrhea. So it wouldn't surprise me in a few weeks, those viruses are still hanging around, and it just kind of coincides with, oh, we had trick or treat, we eat some candy, oh, we're having vomiting and diarrhea the next day. Yeah.
All right, Doc. Well, to wrap everything up, I do know that it's something that always goes around, especially during Halloween, where they take their kids trick-or-treating. And of course, you have some parents who are really good parents. They check the candy before they actually give it to them. And sometimes they find, little needles, something sharp in that candy. Or maybe sometimes it's laced with things that are only for adults. So, Doc, what can you say about that?
Has that happened in Guam? I've never heard that happening in Guam, but probably always a good idea for any parent. Just double check the candy and just take a look. I mean, if it's coming from a trusted source, like it's your auntie that made this beautifully baked brownie, you could probably have that. If it's something you don't know where it came from, might be a good idea to skip that.
All right, Doc, and is there anything more you'd like to add about, the Halloween season and kids having fun, eating as much candy as they like, but not overindulging?
No, they can have the candy. They can have a little bit of candy. Everybody deserves to have a little fun on Halloween. The other thing from a pediatric perspective is, costumes and safety, especially when they're trick-or-treating out on the street, walking around. Make sure they're visible, make sure they can see where they're going and not going to be tripping over. And make sure other people, cars especially, can see them. We don't want any accidents happening on Halloween. It should be a fun, safe time for everyone.
All right, well, you heard it here first, guys. Remember, Halloween, have fun, and of course, let the kids have candy. Even us adults, parents, don't lie to yourselves. We steal their candy too. We just don't tell them. We'll be back with more Health and Lifestyle. Thank you so much, Dr. White.
All right, thanks.